All right, so continuing on, we come to a section called asking for bank account information. We only use this if our clients elect to receive their refund via direct deposit, okay? So if they're receiving their refund via direct deposit, we will put in their routing number and their account number, right? Routing number and account number. We always like to visually see either the card that has that information on it or a check, the bottom of a check. And what I've started to do is make a copy of those things and have them in the folder. That way, when tax returns get double checked at night, you can verify that those are inputted correctly, okay? The next section is called the Versacom toll-free tax info line. I don't use that because it's an added expense for our clients. When checks are in, I can give you a call and let them know. Self-select practitioner PIN numbers, that is a section for me that's already populated for you. And then the next, what forms are you e-filing with that PIN? We are e-filing the income tax return, right? And so it is checked there. The only time we make a change to this is when we are filing extensions, and that's when we would uncheck that box and check form 4868 without direct debit or 4868 with direct debit, all right? So when we have a previous client, their adjusted gross income will populate here. Spouses will populate there. We as professionals have an advantage over things, places like TurboTax or online forums or tabletop tax preparers, because we don't need to have prior year adjusted gross income in order to file a return, whereas those places or those people do. We have the ability to file that return without those adjusted gross incomes, all right? And then the next section we do use, and it is the taxpayer's PIN, right? Taxpayer's PIN for El Campo, 77437. Taxpayer's PIN for Wharton is 77488, right? So we'd input that, the date, today's date. Oh, it's not 2007. And then we would click I authorize. They're authorizing us to e-file or electronically file this tax return. Next portion, identity verification. We need to see valid ID from our clients. So this kind of double checks the fact that we do that. It says check one of the 4 options below. Does not have a state ID or a driver's license. You check that box. Did not provide a state ID or driver's license. You check that box. Provided a driver's license. You check that. Or provided a state ID. You check that. And then here you would input their ID number, the issue date, and the expiration date. And if there does not have an expiration date, you just click no expiration. And then the state that was issued. And you would also do the same thing here for the spouse. So with these scenarios, we don't have any IDs for them. So we're gonna click no ID and keep moving. Identity proofing level. We always verify identity by in-person. If in-person, we looked at their ID, we looked at their socials, passports, things like that. So that is already populated for you. And then there's also level 2, which is remote. Sometimes we get emailed returns, emailed information in to provide our client with our services virtually. So if that, we still ask them for their ID, and then we will check remote here. Next section, identity theft protection PIN. So there are times when people have been a victim of identity theft and they have to provide a PIN number. IRS will provide them a PIN number every year so that they can e-file their tax return. When that happens, they bring a paper in, it has their PIN number, we input that PIN number there, and then they can carry on. If that PIN number is incorrect, or if they need one and did not provide one, we would get something back, a report back from the IRS called a reject. And that reject will have a code to let us know what actually is needed. Okay, third-party designee. Do you want to allow another person to discuss this return with the IRS? No. We do not take liberty and discuss clients' returns with the IRS. That's not something that we do. We let the client take care of that. We do not do that on their behalf, right? And lastly is preparer information. You see how this is preparer's ID is a required field, and then it has preparer's name, their P10, and then the business name, all right? So here, our preparer ID number is the last 4 digits of your social security number. So that's mine. So because in the past, preparers used to have their actual social security numbers on tax returns, and it caused identity theft pretty bad amongst tax preparers, or in regards to tax preparers. So now we do this thing and we get a preparer identification number, a P10. And that's mine right there. And so now your P10 is populated instead of your social security number, showing proof that you prepared that tax return, right? And then it says, I have verified the P10. Of course I did. All right, and then it lets you know how much time you spent in this return, their tax bracket right now, which is 10% because they don't have any income there, and then the starting price of this return. And then right here is information below is for the preparer. It will print and it will move forward pro forma or move forward to the next year. And then notes to the client should be listed on the summary sheet. All right, so that is your main information sheet, okay? So I want you guys to go ahead and input the information for scenario 1 on the main information sheet.